Behave, everyone.
Good evening, all. First up, we need to approve the minutes of Tuesday, November 23rd. So everyone had a chance to look at the minutes? Any discrepancies, additions?
I make a motion, we approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
I abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay. We have 3 informals. 21 Interlaken Road,
Gail Cilicia,
Gail, Sarah?
I don't see her on the list. She might come. You can hold
All
on.
right, we'll hold on that for a while. Eric Gray, 58 Lake Drive,
Should be
stormwater
Shannon.
permit.
That should be
That would be
Shannon.
me.
Okay,
Hannah.
talk to us.
Okay, we're going to be applying for a stormwater permit for 58 Lake Drive. It is an existing developed lot. The house is going to be torn down and a new house constructed. Some trees were taken down on the property. And so that's primarily why we're filing for the stormwater permit. It's over 10,000 square feet of land clearing. And we will be filing that in the next couple of days. I would like to request that the commission schedule a site visit so that we can take a look at that property.
What are we gonna think about all the trees that were taken down?
We have a replanting plan.
You can bring that with you?
Yes,
Okay, so, but the question is, were the trees taken down legitimately?
the property is greater than 200 feet from Stockbridge Bowl.
Okay, thank you. Okay,
That'll do it.
that's what we want to know.
All right. So we're not gonna see any plans or anything, we're just gonna go look at the property? Is that the way it's gonna work?
It depends on when you would like to do the site visit. We're going to be filing the stormwater permit in the next couple of days. But I certainly can bring the plan.
We don't have a meeting, we don't have our meeting on the 4th
Right,
day of the month, so it won't be till January.
correct.
Okay, just making sure you know that.
As for a site, do we wanna do a site visit before we get everything else, paperwork involved?
We might as well.
This week? Next week's not gonna be a great week to do anything.
Friday?
Friday? Does that work for you? Friday?
Yep,
Morning? Afternoon?
Afternoon would be better.
3 o'clock?
A little earlier?
I can't,
Can't do two.
you can't do two. I can not go if you want to do 3 o'clock.
I can do three.
You three.
3? Friday. It's
okay.
Friday. 3.
Anyone is welcome to drive by and take a look on their own.
Okay, good, thank you.
It's not, no one's living there. My other question is, we would like to apply for the demolition permit of the existing house prior to hopefully your January approval of the stormwater permit. Can we go ahead and do that?
Have you filed a permit with the building inspector yet?
Not yet, but the contractor would like to.
Do that, and he'll usually give me the paperwork and I'll go up and look at it. That's the way it's been going. If it's okay, I sign off and things happen. If we got an issue, I will let you know when I sign off on that paper.
Okay.
Shannon, is there some kind of sequence of work going on with this project?
The contractor was not aware that they needed the stormwater permit. So it's going to be demolish the house and then rebuild the house, new septic system, new drilled well.
Can we get can we get some idea when these things are gonna happen?
Sure, they're looking to demolish as soon as possible. And then, I'm not sure when construction is going to start, but I can find that out.
I don't care much about the construction yet. I care about the demolishment.
Yep, that would be as soon as possible.
Date? No, okay.
Yep, they have to go to historic preservation
Not that I'm aware of.
for every, I think for every raising of every structure, they have to.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
the building inspector will guide you through that.
Yeah, I'll mention it.
Unfortunately, he hasn't been in the office. Had a knee operation.
So,
He's got a sub, though.
Yeah. He'll
Shannon,
see
I
it.
would advise them strongly not to do anything more until we do our site visit.
Okay,
We'll do one Friday. We may need a second one as things progress, but we'll get you started this Friday.
that's great. Thank you.
Um,
While I'm here, I
Yeah.
did give you some information on Newman, for Birch Lane, the garage shed that we looked at.
oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's not a garage.
Did you want to talk about that now or?
Sure.
Why not?
Okay. So I provided you with a plan showing the structure, and a description of what its purpose is. There's going to be a stone ramp to access the structure, probably more for a lawnmower type vehicle, not a car. Primarily it is for storage. The house is occupied by other people at times, and there just is not storage in the house. So they are using this structure for storage. Upstairs is also going to be like wardrobe storage. The structure is 2 feet wider than what was approved.
All the way around? 2 feet on,
Just 2 feet wider. The approved was 12 by 18, and
yeah,
this one is 14 by 18. So it's just 2 feet wider. In the exact location, the wider part is going towards the lawn area. And it's right on the same path.
what's the square footage? So 18 by 2
Of the
of the increase?
change in footprint,
The increase,
the increase is 2 by 18, yes.
so 36 square feet.
Yes. We are proposing to plant 2 more bushes. The bushes that are there were planted prior to last winter. And they will be monitored for survival before we get a certificate of compliance. The structure that's there is on a stone pad on piers, whereas the original garage was proposed on a concrete pad. So I think the stone is an improvement over the concrete pad. It's still a disturbance to land area. So
What
for
are,
that would,
do you know what's being planted? you know
the
what-
same bushes as what's there,
Which
those
is
little arborvitaes.
ones that were not looking so good?
You mean deer food?
They survived one winter, so he'll keep an eye on them.
Good luck. All right.
So did you express to them our displeasure about their taking matters into their own hands and changing what their plan was without permission?
Yes, I did.
Well, but that doesn't, they don't
Cut
care.
it.
That doesn't do anything. I mean, I'd like to see some native wetland plantings. You know, maybe not 36 square feet, but I'd like to see some improvement there, given that they're taking up even more of that area.
Okay.
Is the ramp in going to be solid stone?
Yes. Compacted stone.
Pervious?
Technically, yes.
What does that mean?
If it rains hard, enough water will go around it and under it.
No, what does that mean technically? Yes.
Well, it's compacted stone, so, it's, according to DEP, it would be pervious. But if it's compacted enough, we all know it tends to run off a bit.
And where is that?
A ramp going up to get into the garage.
The garage.
Storage building.
Storage building. So that's an even greater loss of,
No, that was under the approved plan,
okay,
was driveway in that area, which is the same material.
okay, thank you.
It's under the approved plan before it became 2 feet,
Can
36.
you send us some sort of description of what
It was
you're
part
gonna
of the
do to
approved plan
improve
before
the
36 square feet.
property?
Right, because it's
At this
actually,
point, like the additional plantings Lisa was
You were
talking
worried about that tree that
Yes, yep,
had taken the truck
improvement plantings.
damaged. Do you remember that?
Can be an email.
Okay.
Yes. Yep, I can do that.
I just wanted to remove. And Shannon, there was also, when Lisa and I were there was a tree and a large truck had come by the large tree and it looked like it'd been damaged. Are they going to replant or repair?
Can't repair.
That was not in the plan, but I can have them take a look at it.
Thank you.
so just technically, Shannon, the plan was approved, but they changed the plan. So for things like that, even though it wasn't in the plan, I think we can say we want that repaired. Because you're changing the plan. The plan that was approved is not what's out there.
It's not what was built.
It's not what was built. So
Right.
the area that Jamie's referring to, we'd like to have addressed, even though it wasn't in the plan.
It's the tree that was potentially damaged.
But you're talking about all the big
Yeah.
rutted area?
Oh, the rutted area, that's all gonna be cleaned up. It probably has been already.
Probably.
I haven't been back out, but I know the contractor was aware of that and he was gonna clean it up.
Okay, so I mean, we definitely want to see this. I think as
And when
it
this is all,
goes.
when this is all finished, drop us a line.
Okay,
Someone will go look.
okay. Yep, I will send you an email with the additional improvement and I will make sure that the tree's looked at and that the rutted area is cleaned up definitely before winter really sets in.
And that they plant native wetland species.
Right, yes, I'll include that planting plan in that email.
What's the address?
Or
Beachwood,
Or Birch Lane.
Birch, sorry. In Beachwood.
Okay. Was on my agenda list, so what?
Okay,
what's this
thank you
list?
very much.
Thank you, Shannon. Campusa water level. Beavers.
So I've been in contact with Jess Toro, who sort of took over for Judy Spencer in an official capacity for a while, but I don't know if there's still a Campusa Bog stewardship. I had written to her and Misty Ann at DEP, who's Natural Heritage. And my response from Jess says, Chris Bulow from Natural Heritage and I have been talking about the high water levels. We are trying to get out there for a site visit this week. Our concern is the downstream wetland has a beaver dam in it that may be backing up water in the Route 7 corridor. Right now, Mass DOT is not concerned about the water levels in Route 7. Is the Conservation Commission concerned about the high levels or other issues as well? I said, yes. And so she says, our main concern is the mat as well. How is it affecting downstream landowners? Is it more or less water? Stronger flow when it rains. If I have to guess the future, we will need to contact the landowner downstream from Route 7, request a beaver deceiver for that dam, but it may not do enough at the mat. We really need to figure out what's driving all this flooding.
Okay, can I,
So, John, do you want to get in touch with Jess?
if you send me your information,
Tell her what you know?
yeah, I mean, you have to send me your information because I don't have it.
Okay. It's Jess, JESSM, as in Murray, Toro, TORO, @gmail.
It would be helpful if you just put it in an email being in.
Okay, I can send it to you.
So here's what I know, because I've looked into this. First of all, the property is owned by Judy Abdallah, who has no problem with anything happening there. Second of all, there was a beaver control device put in there, somewhere around 10 years ago. I walked down along that berm that essentially holds back the water on the east side of Route 7. That berm was put in by Tom Spencer back when he developed, what is it, on Neil Hill?
The development.
Yeah,
There's two
right.
houses.
I think there's three. But at any rate, there's a telephone wire that evidently runs through the berm, and there's a power line that runs down over the top of the berm. So there's a right of way there of some sort. Now, when I went down there, the beavers pretty much had it backed up. However, the beaver control device, which I'm assuming that there was a 10-inch piece of pipe put in there as part of the beaver control device, is way over on the wetland in the south side of the berm. Now, I don't expect beavers picked it up and moved it over there. I suspect that stormwater moved it over there. But that's the current state of real-time stuff.
Yeah, I just forwarded you Jess's email, so.
Do it.
I just forwarded you Jess's email.
Okay.
So you have the best knowledge of this. You can help her understand it better, I think.
It's kind of interesting. If you look at the corner of Route 7 and Lee Road, before the Scourins driveway, the water is backed all the way up to Lee Road, which obviously means it's backed up to the Scourins house.
Right. So, yeah, I think they're trying to look at the whole thing, and I think if Chris Bulow is involved with Heritage, it's likely that maybe they can put some pressure on the state. I don't know, for the
I
highway.
don't think the state,
Not Route 7?
maybe, I don't know what it was. Somewhere in this building, there's some paperwork filed about the remediation of that problem 10 years ago.
Yeah, I'm sure it's there someplace.
And
Probably need to have a name attached to it.
well, I think Beaver Solutions' name is probably attached to it.
I talked to Michael about this. He was gonna talk to Beaver Solutions to see if they've had any record of it. Okay, because as far as he could tell, the town was not the one that had it put in. But that might not be true.
Well, the state had the one on the west side of the road put in.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming maybe they figured out they needed to have one on the east side of the road too, but I don't know that.
So anyways, he was very hesitant to do anything on private property like that. But he said if you can get the state to
Supersede.
put or whatever, go for it,
Well, Judy doesn't really give a damn. She would like the Scourins to be relieved of their hassle and, Campusa Bog relieved of its hassle.
Well, I think at this point, the potential damage to the mat is our primary concern.
That's what I think.
If there's a threat to endangered species, both plant and animal may be Heritage can provide some relief because, if it's backing up into the bog, that's a bad thing.
Well, if the beavers keep going, it's just gonna get higher.
All right, we'll see if we hear anything from National Heritage. Jess Toro's been in contact.
Yeah, Jess is in touch with Chris Bulow. I don't know if you remember him from that Lake Agawam project, but he's been before us. So I copied Miss Deanne, but she has been talking to Chris, so they're aware.
All right, continue this. Bird Pond continued.
Okay, so,
Next Mackinac Road.
yeah, we have to deal with that.
Can't hear you, Sally.
I said we have to deal with that. It's a little complicated, but we'll figure it out.
That's 6 Mackinac Road.
They did not have a DP number when they filed last time, so we have to,
They did not have a DEP number? Is that what you said?
so we need to sort that out.
Next.
28 Beachwood Drive, they want a certificate of compliance. They're stating that there was no work done
How do we give them a certificate of compliance if the work hasn't been done?
because you get a certificate of compliance saying the work wasn't done. It's one of the check things that you can check on a certificate of compliance, that no work was commenced or completed.
Oh,
Do you have
So
to
it
see it?
closes, it closes, yeah, we're required to do a site visit. It closes out the project.
all right, good, I'm off it.
Done. So we should probably do a site visit.
Yeah. We're going out Friday. I don't know if we have time though.
So do we want to go on Friday?
Yeah. If we hurry, we'll get done before dark. Cause it's about an hour. 28 Beachwood Drive, 3:30,
Yep.
Friday.
Shouldn't take long just to look and see if they did anything.
Do we have any paperwork on what he was gonna do? Be nice to go in and see, what was or wasn't done. We don't need it tonight.
Hey, now maybe we can hear.
Peter's really bad.
No.
Okay,
Town of Stockbridge, bundle NOI for Highway Department.
they wanted an extension for that.
Yeah. It's been over 3 years though, hasn't it?
Well, it's been almost 3 years, since 2018. But they don't get an extension if they don't file within 3 years. So, but the question is, do we want Hugh to come in and just have a little chat about life in general in terms of Conservation Commission versus Highway Department?
Well, I don't think we should put it that way.
Well, I mean, what we expect and what they need. And, just we have to have some sort of mutual understanding. And since this was originally applied for by Len, we have not talked to Hugh about.
Right, I just don't want it to be confrontational.
No,
I think that
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put it that way. I just,
Hugh is probably one of the most accommodating people we've ever had as a town.
right, but we have not spoken to him.
I've had a couple conversations at the highway garage, but it was more or less, this is what we're doing. Have you heard about, this is where we're gonna be. but that was on it. And I don't know how many other ones that I have talked to him about or not. It's just when I run into him, he lets me know what he's doing.
But
So,
we need to, I think we need to discuss what it is that is our concern. I mean, he may be already aware of that, but, things
No.
like, are you cleaning your machines when you leave an area that has Phragmites in it? Do you look, how much salt goes where? Are there places in town that we should really look at reduced salt? There are a number of issues that we need to work with the highway department to
Well,
make sure everything is going the way it should.
I think if you just, ask him to be here at their first January meeting, he'll be here and we can have that
Right.
conversation.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's just something I think we should do before we sign off on this.
all right, I'll find him. I'll run him down. What's the date on that meeting?
11th.
11th? Okay. To sign.
So the meeting is the 11th.
And the 25th.
Tell him about the 11th. If you can't make it the 11th, we'll get him at the next one. But sooner the better. Into the year 2022, let's get it done with.
Yeah, I mean, All right, so Jones Beach, we have not heard back from Rob with
And for the
with an
stairs.
updated, plan. So we still have that.
We'll continue this.
And I mean, it's closed. We just need that bit of information from him that we can put in the record.
I thought we closed Housatonic Railroad.
We did not.
We did not?
All right, so I have to tell you that, I'm not sure how this is gonna go with these, closing out these two projects, because there is nothing in the form that allows for that.
Which projects are you talking about?
For withdrawing without prejudice, for Mackinac Terrace and the Housatonic Railroad. There's nothing in the form that has that provision for it. So this may go to DEP and they may say, what are you thinking? Just saying.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll find out one way or the other.
So this is Jim Hatch, certificate of compliance. This is White Pines.
Does Jim Hatch actually live in that house?
He was there the day we went,
Yeah,
cleaning gutters. Told him he's not supposed to do that.
this is
Told him old people aren't supposed to do that.
pump station. Okay, so this is the Housatonic Railroad. I have no idea how we accomplished what we wanted to accomplish. So I'm just telling you. I couldn't find a way to make it work.
Did they actually spray this year or not?
No. I asked, they said, so the only thing I could find to do was to check the one section in the positive determination, which is not really what we wanted to do, saying the boundaries of this resource area are not confirmed. And I put that the applicant will need to refile in the spring or prior to commencement of any activity, so the boundaries requested in this determination of applicability can be verified. This may go to DEP and it may come right on back to
Might go
us.
south.
So,
So is there a replacement for Mark?
yes,
If some of these things have,
forgotten who it is.
Okay, but somebody's doing it.
Yeah, they've got somebody standing in for them.
some of these things,
Anybody know what happened?
I don't, but it sounded not good,
Yeah, Mark Stinson is out
definitely.
indefinitely, so.
Yeah.
Some of these things in
How
other
come?
departments of,
Get sick.
They didn't say, they just sent, Pete just sent an email saying he was out in bed.
I mean, the thing that should happen with these is that the people should withdraw it. Put that in the file and it's done, but they didn't. So we are making a decision
right,
that I don't know that we can make.
So we'll find out.
Put that into here.
and just talking about. Don't some of these things have expiration dates when,
They have expiration dates if we paper,
right,
but they don't have expiration dates. We haven't issued any paperwork. I mean, that can be, I don't know if we can put that in our performance standards. I mean, technically it can go on forever. There's nothing that says that.
well, they're gonna have to come back to us next year, especially if they weren't gonna.
Well, assuming that this is going to be, I honestly don't know whether it will or not. They may just say, no, that was not the correct procedure.
It'll just keep coming back then. Okay, where are we?
I mean, like the certificate of compliance, you have the thing to say that there's no work done.
Right,
Checkbox in the form, but there's just nothing in here. Do it that way, so I don't know, we'll see.
So they may need to amend their form. Put something in there.
Yeah,
That might be yours.
Maybe we'll make our own.
yeah.
We'll make our own form.
I don't know.
Okay,
All right, so
upcoming business?
performance standards. We should probably vote on having no December meeting. Who wants to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we won't have another December meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody really wants to come here? Guess not. Okay. January 11th will be
Right,
our next meeting. Okay. Performance standards, what do we have, Tom Ingers?
just coming up, he's gonna take over that Terrell property that Mike Parsons did, that had to where they were gonna do the incredible amount of invasive removal, and it was
Right.
just an awful lot of work, and we were really worried about it, so I
Okay.
wanna know some intent.
Okay, good.
I have thoughts on that for the draft, for performance standards too.
So, anyway, that's that.
19 Lakeview Drive.
Wait. Performance standards.
Yeah, let's get through this other stuff.
Okay.
We'll come
There's
back.
really nothing much to talk about, I don't think, on those other things. They're just kind of hanging out there, waiting until we get some information.
So who's reviewing Lakeview Drive, 19?
Was town council looking at that? We were gonna get the whole business of the tree.
Clear cut.
Yeah. That's
I think
where
that's
it went.
that's part of the performance standards, I think, when we get.
Zoe, what's the tree protection bylaw down here?
Haven't got one yet.
I wanted to get through this first.
But we've been talking about how we should have one.
Okay,
Berkshire Theater drainage, haven't heard back from anyone.
don't hold your breath.
I still got his phone number, I'll tweak him. And 20 Mackinac Shores. Anybody been down that way?
Yeah,
Yes?
yeah, it's pretty bizarre. they have the foundation, and foundation's on 2 levels. And it's pretty much, well, when I was there, it's pretty much full of water.
Great.
It wasn't capped, nothing else. The work around it, no particular concerns. They could do some maintenance on the silt fences and stuff, but, you know, it's splitting hairs. But the project itself is really bizarre. I mean, at this point it is.
Yeah, they were in a big rush because they can't work during the summer, and then they did nothing after.
Right. So they've been, I mean, they worked and they got the foundation in, but I've never seen a foundation like that.
Did they backfill the foundation or anything?
Sorry?
Did they backfill the foundation?
No.
Oh, that'll be nice through the winter then. That'll stand up nice during the winter.
And the truck is gone.
Oh,
Obvious that there was some work that's been going on there. I would expect the next thing that they would do is cap the foundation, but I'm not any contractor, so I don't know.
cap and backfill.
All right, so the
Performance standards.
performance standards.
Everyone has a copy.
So I had went through it and had some questions about conflicts with the Lake and Pond Overlay District in terms of distances and stuff. My first look at it was number 2 on the first page at the bottom.
Buffer zone.
Buffer zone is the area within 200 feet of bank or river, lake or pond, or 100 feet of the edge of another bank or BBW, but the LPOD says 150 feet. Okay, so somehow or other, I think we need to reconcile that. I mean, there were a number of things that I thought were really good. On page 3, again, number 2, I was really confused by this because I wasn't sure where the second parentheses went in number 2.
Oh, yeah, I was looking at one of those too.
But I
It
was,
seemed to be short, a set of parentheses or
yeah, there
one too
there
many
was
or
one
something.
that wasn't there, and I wasn't sure where it was supposed to go, but I had some concerns about new activity other than travel by foot or non-motorized vehicles.
Where is this, Sally?
Number 2 on page 3.
So 2.2, then 2.
2.22, thank you. No new activity or structure other than shall be.
I'm not, if they're trying to say that we shouldn't have to worry about the removal of invasive species, I don't agree with that because it depends on how they go about it. If they go popping everything out of the ground and making a big uncovered mess.
I had thoughts that when we designate trees from bushes,
Yeah,
if we put, let's say, a 4-foot trunk or leader or whatever you want to call it, a 4-inch,
DBH.
that would cover all the big invasives as well. Like buckthorn, honeysuckle,
right,
that we could consider those to be a tree
yeah,
and they would have to replant for that type of
Okay.
thing.
So have that as the cutoff.
Yeah. You know, because a tree could be 4-inch, but 30 feet tall.
right,
And a buckthorn won't get that tall, but it's still gonna be a massive tree.
right.
And you'd start cutting all that stuff down, it's wide open again.
And plus it has a whole bunch of, the thing about buckthorn though is that it oftentimes has a bunch of,
Stalks.
Stalks.
Yeah, well, that's, we have to designate at what height we
Yeah.
determine.
and it can be fairly substantial without reaching 4 inches. Yeah, we'll have to think about buckthorn. On page 4,
So
2.3.
would you stick with that a minute? So what was your question about doing the activities?
Oh, just, that we shouldn't exclude vegetation or invasive vegetation removal.
I had one back a little bit.
Because I
Page 4,
think that can be something that we need to be on top of.
Okay.
page 4, 3.3. Landowner shall minimize application of fertilizers containing nitrogen and phosphorus. You got that too?
I think, no.
Where are you again, Ron?
Page 4,
Okay,
2.3, number
coming
3.
down from the top,
yeah, I got it.
number 3.
So we want to,
Minimize application of fertilizers. No.
So we cross off
shall not use.
minimize and put in delete or
Yeah, I
exclude.
think we need to make sure that it's no closer than 200 feet.
Because minimize doesn't.
Minimize.
Quantity, it allows.
Because it still runs
We'll
right
just
into
put a
the
little,
lake.
we'll just put a little bit down this time,
Right.
a little
Yeah.
bit next time.
Because it still goes right into the lake.
So that's gotta be changed with some verbiage.
I really liked the business of evaluating habitat. Thought that was good on page 4.
Number 2.
And then on page 5, when they're talking about storage of fill and snow, I don't know if we want to consider this, but we've been getting complaints from Goodrich Street about dumping yard debris. So we might want to include that in somewhere in what we're not supposed to be dumping in the buffer zone. And there's a whole business of the LPOD about,
Where are you now?
Page.
on page 6, 2.10, construction debris. LPOD has a whole thing on that.
That is stricter than what's here?
I marked out a couple of things in the, starting with 150 feet within the LPOD, which they consider to be jurisdictional. And then there's also a water surface overlay district, surface water supply protection overlay district, which is Echo Lake, Lake Averick, which is Lake Averick. And the SWSPOD shall include the land between Echo Lake, also known as Lake Averick, and the upper boundary of its bank. B, the area within a 400-foot lateral distance from the upper boundary of the bank of Echo Lake. And C, the land area within 200 feet lateral distance from the upper boundary of the bank of a tributary associated
Somebody trying to get in?
surface water of Echo Lake.
Want me to go?
Why would,
So there's additional protections in the town bylaw for some of these bodies of water. Lake Averick, for instance. And also scenic roads, cutting or removal of trees or tearing down or the destruction of stone walls or portions therein, except within prior consent of the planning board after public hearing. So there's that part of it.
So you Nobody there? So are you suggesting those?
Yeah, I'm just
Included in here?
concerned that we don't,
Oh, it is found a way in.
That we don't. This is Gail. Hello.
Gail Cerisia.
Hi.
Oh,
It's fun figuring out how to get into every door except for this one, because I find this one. Hi, I'm here to submit a request for determination for the McCarrans on the 21 Interlaken Cross Road.
The first
informal.
item in informal.
Yep. Septic system.
Yeah, and so I have these two applications here, and I can send an electronic one. I just didn't send it to you yet.
Yes, we need that.
Okay, but here they are, and do I give them to you, Seth?
This is for what property?
The McKiernan's.
McCarran's.
That's it.
And so I was just hoping I could set up an on-site with you. I know it's out of the ordinary to do that before the public hearing sometimes or meeting, but because of the snow, we were hoping that you could look at the boundary and let us know whether you agree or not, or if you need some adjustments, we can do that.
Do you have any plans drawn up yet?
The plan with the flagging will be here for the January meeting. The engineer just got hired, and so,
I think we need to see a plan before, with a site.
Yeah, just walking around the property is not gonna do us much good, really. It lets you have something flagged.
oh, everything's flagged. Everything's flagged, and the photographs show it to a certain extent. The wetlands on this site are pretty well established even through the aerial.
Are they marked?
Yeah, I have it all completely flagged. There's 64 flags out there delineating the BVW. And then there's blue flags to show the top of the bank for the perennial stream. And then when it went behind the house, I just put blue flags. I didn't number the blue flags. It's just, not worth it.
Yeah, it's a river.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's a perennial stream.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I have a question. That property, to the best of my knowledge, is for sale.
Yes,
Are you representing Betsy or are you representing a potential buyer?
Betsy. I'm representing Betsy. They had a purchase and sale agreement, but because of the, they just had it recently. And the people wanted to know what the situation was with the septic system, which makes a lot of sense. And so they're, and the reason we're asking for you to look at the property prior to the snowfall is because we can concentrate on the design, and this is probably going to have some fill in the septic system, I would think, or, because of the slope. So, it's good to know that you agree with where the boundary is. I don't know what else to say. The site, I don't think, it has a lot of wetlands on it, but when you get to this, between the house and the road, it slopes up, and it even shows on the soil maps, which aren't always all that accurate, but the NRCS soil map, that it does change, and it did. I mean, I looked at the soils and it did change.
Is there a map in here?
Where is this?
The corner of Mackinac and Interlochen Crossroads with a little pond in the front,
On the right-hand side.
north.
Oh, yeah,
corner.
sure. Yeah.
There's a photograph and the,
Okay,
Across the street from the
east side up front. right?
greenhouse?
Other side of the
Right on the inside.
north side.
but so like,
Okay, gotcha.
here's some photographs
Oh, yeah, sure.
in the back that shows It shows the property. I married a couple photographs together.
And it's just out of the buffer zone, out of the,
No, it's
Right in
not,
the-
it's not. It's going to need variances and, yeah, it's,
I looked at this house for the woman that,
I want to be there for the site visit and I can't do it this Friday.
I think it's going to be complicated to do this project.
Yeah, so this is going to take some time,
Yeah.
but I do want to
Who's the
see it.
engineer?
Anytime next week?
I can do.
I can meet with you, more than once if
I
that
want to go out,
helps.
I want to go out with the commission.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the engineer?
The engineer is going to be John Dupre. He's out of North Adams. He's done a lot of designs. He's an engineer. He's
Earlier finding.
he's qualified. He just hasn't worked in Stockbridge.
Can't do after.
Right.
The 17th or the 24th? Sorry.
You all go on the site, everyone?
Well,
No?
ideally,
Ideally, you do.
doesn't happen that way.
But if it takes 2 visits and there's like 3 and 4 or whatever,
We've got a site visit this coming Friday at
3.
3.
And 3:30.
Yeah. That was right.
do you?
And that's on Lake Drive, it's not far. 2:30?
I can do 2:30.
2:30?
2:30?
2:30, we'll get as many as we can.
And if
Then
anyone,
we'll reschedule again if more people want to see.
okay.
Is that all right, Jane?
this
Yeah, I
Friday.
can go the next Thursday, the 23rd.
All right. Thursday, the 23rd. Friday at 2:30.
This coming Friday.
Thank you so much for doing this. I know it's like we're pushing.
It's a tough.
So you dug holes and know where the soil conditions go.
Yes, I did.
And how about one more thing? Do you have the water level?
I'm sorry?
The water level, groundwater level?
The groundwater level, yeah, it's right at the surface in many places, yeah.
I mean,
I didn't do the septic system perk test, but I did tell Scott where to go. It's,
they had successful perks?
yeah, I guess that's, I didn't do the perk test, but, yeah. I stapled this wrong.
I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I've been in those kind of places where you walk around and it's square.
Well, honestly, okay, so let me just show you on the soil map.
Tough year too.
Yeah, it has been a really, you can see, here's their, hold on a second. Here's Mackinac Road, and this is Interlaken Cross Road,
Yeah.
okay? And here's Mackinac. And the soil survey is surprisingly pretty accurate. So here's the house, and if you see this line, the soil changes up and through here. And then it's pretty wet everywhere else. I don't think.
How would you get there?
I don't think you would be able to build it today, honestly. I'm sorry?
How would you get there? I mean, to where your thumb is?
The machinery, I think, to do the work.
It's a downhill.
Well, they went right across, they did go right across the wetland to do the perk test. But the spot we selected had invasive plant species and it obviously had been disturbed before. So it was, there was a lot of purple loosestrife and it was the shortest distance you could go.
Where is the system now?
The system is behind the house, but apparently it
Failed.
didn't pass. Yeah, there's a lot of water this year, a lot of water.
It's only going to get wetter.
It is going to get wetter. And I did see somebody putting a 4-foot drain across the street. There's a culvert and across the street, they were digging down at least 4 feet and draining their property. And I don't think you have jurisdiction, but that's if all the people that build across the street start draining their property like that, there will be more water. you know? But that particular spot that they're draining is back in here. There's a culvert in here somewhere. And I did come across a, what am I talking, a map that shows the hydrologic connections. I looked at this thing so many times and I still stapled it wrong. I don't know, I think I'm dyslexic or something. Let me see. So this will show, also shows the acreage, but it also shows the hydrologic connection. So there's a culvert right in here, and it's totally accurate. It's really right there. And so here's the curve in the road. And this property here has a perennial stream that goes
Yeah.
house to house.
Over there.
So can you send that electronically?
I will send everything
Yes,
electronically. I just, I'm going to scan it. I'm probably going to have to scan it in like 2 or 3 because I don't think that it will go through the mail. So I'm going to break it up and I just didn't get to that.
Can you make it a PDF? So it's small?
Yeah, even like once you started getting into photographs, it even still gets too big. So I'll have to break it up. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm scan it like in 2 or 3 parts.
How many pages is it?
I don't know. I didn't number the pages.
I just didn't know if you knew. Typically it should scan.
I'm sorry I didn't staple this together. I really looked at it like 3 times. I don't know. Anyway, I really appreciate you going out on Friday and Thursday, right? Okay. All right. So Thursday, at what time are we doing?
I can, anytime afternoon,
Okay. All right.
what works for you?
Just tell me what time you want. I'll be there.
12:30?
12:30 on Thursday. Okay. 12:30.
2:30 on Friday.
Okay. And I will send Sally the documents and then she can send it to you.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Gail.
You can go out any door you like.
I went to every door.
I heard somebody, we heard somebody. I went out and looked, and there was nobody
I
there.
was like, I didn't know if you were.
Don't take it personally.
Thank you so much.
All right, have a good evening. Where were we?
All right, so
I got too much stuff going on here. It's a mess.
we're talking about construction debris.
What page you on now, Sally?
Oh,
Page 6.
20.
And there was something in LPOD about construction debris. So it's prohibited, the storage or dumping of any waste material, junk, refuse, or other debris is prohibited in the LPOD. So that's 150 feet from the resource area. So again, that's something that I think, we've had run-ins with the planning board, not in a bad way, but just, their regulations are different than ours.
Strikes me that once upon a time, we used to ask them to take it out of Stockbridge.
Right.
I don't know if that's permissible now, though, John.
Yeah. So, anyway, the minimum setback from the high water mark under the LPOD is 100 feet, except for places where it's 150. The maximum lot coverage is 15% within the LPOD. And these are things that I'm not entirely sure whether the planning board really actually looks at. But it's certainly a guideline for us. It also says the driveway, parking, and loading must be permeable in the LPOD, which I don't think we've ever looked at. Natural vegetation must be 75% within the LPOD.
Right.
So 150 feet away from the high water mark is supposed to be 75% vegetation.
Sally, the LPLD is,
Lake and Pond Overlay District.
I know that. but
Yeah.
It's a planning board issue, not ours.
It's a planning board issue, but the thing is that if we're making performance standards and they contradict what the Lake and Pond Overlay District is, it's just going to be complicated. And
But the enforcer, planning board.
Right, and that
the
should,
enforcer on the LPOD is the planning board,
Right.
and that should
the
be,
building inspector. The enforcer for us is the police.
Well, now we're becoming the enforcers.
But my point is that I think we would be wise not to have contradictory information in our performance standards.
It would be wise to understand the planning board rules.
right.
Right.
That's the problem.
So, so if they're asking for 75% cover of natural vegetation within the LPOD on a piece of property,
It's their problem.
it's their
I
problem.
know, but we should advise them, that's what we're putting.
But if we're gonna be doing a whole thing of performance standards, it should
Be
match.
consistent. It should be consistent within the town. Yeah.
They do not want to see anything that the slope must be less than 20% within the LPOD. And one of their requirements is that the project should be completed within 90 days. Stockpiled soils must be covered. There's a 35-foot cutting prohibition. And for entry into the water access, it's 35 feet or 20% of the shoreline, whichever is less.
So somewhat, what you're reading off, it's not that it's not consistent with this, it's that it's not here.
It's not here, and it's also in many cases not consistent.
But
I
this
think
came
we're
from
just,
the town lawyer.
and
Like I said, big letters, draft.
Right, yeah,
This
no.
is not gonna happen in a month,
no.
probably 2 months.
But I just think that it, we've had,
Yeah.
people say, but it doesn't say that. And we
Well,
say,
so
but
you
it
got-
does say it somewhere else. So why would we permit something that the planning board can't permit or won't permit?
Sally, that's a good point. They come to us first, and then they go talk to the planning board, and they say we gave them permission for a blank,
Right,
when they have stricter rules.
right.
And
So I think that we need to look at the two documents together, and make sure that we're not creating a conflict.
Or part of the feedback to the lawyer, be the question, shouldn't this be consistent with?
Right, exactly.
But to Joe's point, and I'm a big advocate of this, and when somebody comes in here, obviously seeking our blessing, so they go to the planning board, I think we should just end the meeting and say, go away.
come to us after the planning board.
Yeah.
Well, I think there are some times when that makes a lot of sense. Like we've had projects where they've had a particularly long driveway and the planning board might or might not permit it because the driveway is so long. And if they don't permit the driveway because it's too long, or they think that there's something, that the slope is too great or whatever they think, then they have to come back to us with a whole different plan.
We just send them away.
But it goes the other way around too. If we,
But it's up to the applicant to know the regulations. Also.
it is, but they don't.
They don't, but it really is up to them to know it. So if they're bringing things, they may have to be told to come back again.
And we have some applicants that have different interpretations of what the zoning bylaw says than we do. Like the 35-foot buffer zone, for instance, we've run against a few times. And, you know, and frankly, there have been things permitted through the planning board that did not follow their own bylaws. And I don't know what we do about that.
Was it because of something we suggested that they just sort of went along with, or, you know, I don't know the specifics.
They just, I'm not sure that this current iteration of the planning board is as familiar with the Lake and Pond Overlay District as they ought to be.
No, 20 Mackinac Shores is a pretty good example.
It's not that difficult, that, you know, the LPOD.
Well, Sally and I are the only ones had a chance to look at this before you people got it tonight. So
So,
you've got a copy. Make notes, make corrections. We'll discuss them. Right here on page 7, John, this one's for you. Number 5 on page 7.
All right. Yeah, I think it needs to be a little bit more than,
Detailed.
yeah, more than that. I can make my suggestions. I mean, ideally, what I think, and Jay's a good person to have here because he's a builder, is that I think that they come in with their application, we go to a site visit and all that good stuff. We approve what they've given to us in their plan. And then we look at where they might have the opportunity to screw up and go mid-construction and check it out. I mean, I've seen more than one case of where they haven't complied with what it is that they originally put before us. And then we go for the certificate of compliance site visit at the end. I mean, but I think it should be a 3-step process. And I think one of the most important visit is the one in the middle.
Oh, we had an example tonight. The garage grew 2 feet from what they showed us.
Well, at least they
What do we
told us.
do? We'll tell them chop 2 feet off? I mean,
well, we can.
we could.
But at least they told us, you know.
Well, they told us because they needed an extension. That's the only reason.
Because we
And
went to look at it.
They didn't tell us. We went and
Right.
looked.
But also, if they do changes, we should know about it
It's
And
required.
that should,
before it happens.
yeah, and that should be here.
It is. It's in the order of conditions.
But it also should be in the performance standards, and I think maybe it should be under the sequence of work thing.
Because, you know, frankly, I don't think that the homeowners read the order of conditions.
Well, a lot of them
Even
have
though that it's their responsibility to read them.
architects, engineers who also neglect
Yeah.
to catch certain things. Always their favor.
I remember when Tublitz was here, and he would insist upon the engineer or whomever was here to submit a letter saying that he, she, whatever, was acting as an agent for the owner.
It's also written they have to sign off on it.
All right.
But so for
So
like,
that was duplicating efforts, but the one thing that he wanted to see was to have, a plan signed
signed
by
by the
the,
engineer.
Engineer.
no, by the contractor.
All right.
Plans are signed and stamped by the engineer.
Some of them.
No, they do. They sign them and stamp them for a notice of intent. But the thing that we don't necessarily see, and it's probably a good idea, is that the contractor has read the order of conditions, which isn't always the
But there's one person that comes before us who has, let's see, references tallest mountain in Massachusetts, whose engineering plans are stamped by somebody else.
Well, if the person himself is not licensed,
He has to get somebody else.
he has to get somebody else. You have to have specific credentials in order to stamp. plan. Some people are designers and some people are engineers.
Stamps.
One more question, is this appendix 2, is this document already exists, or is this,
Say that again?
is this a new document, or is this what travels with the deed already?
I
Appendix,
believe it's a new document.
appendix 2, because that's nice.
Yeah, this is not something that generally goes out.
So that would go with the document if the property sells, so that's good.
Any more questions, discussions? You want to study first?
Yeah, I want to look at it.
Getting a text from my dog.
Get through Christmas shopping early, settle down in a chair and fall asleep reading this thing. After about the third read, you start to say, gee, that doesn't sound right. What's parentheses on this?
Yeah,
I read that one 3 times. I go,
Yeah,
I don't understand this whole
couldn't figure it out.
paragraph.
There were 2 places you could put it, but
Oh, can we take this home and read it
Yes,
and then come back and discuss it?
got your name all over it, John.
Thanks.
It is now public.
Yeah, no, I think this is
Document.
probably one of the most important things that happened with the Concom.
Up till now, it's not been public.
okay, on page 6 of the, now this is the order of conditions that is officially given to every person who applies for a notice of intent. Says, any change to the plans identified in condition number 13, the works, it says, which says that the work shall conform to the plans and special conditions referenced in this order. Any change to the plans identified in condition 13 above shall require the applicant to inquire of the Conservation Commission in writing whether the change is significant enough to require the filing of a new notice of intent. So in
So when-
every time we issue one of these, that's in it. That they have to come to us and say, well, we changed our minds, we want to do blah, blah, blah. And we can decide whether it's a significant change and or not. And if we don't think it's a significant change, we just let it go as is. If we think it's a significant change, we can ask them to file an amended order, for an amended order of conditions. And if we think it's a big hairy deal, we can say, no, you need to file an entirely new notice of intent. And that's,
so we could have done that with the garage shed.
we could have.
And that's what I was trying to do by adding more conditions. And Shannon kept saying, and so the plan's already approved. But it wasn't, and it was
wasn't
negated,
approved.
it was
No,
negated
It
by,
was negated by the fact that they did not do what it said in the plan.
right. So I want to make sure the things that we've added really go in as order of conditions.
Right. So we can require that they file for an amended order.
And are they time sensitive? Do they expire?
The order of conditions expires after 3 years.
Okay,
They asked for an extension.
right,
We
remember,
could deny the extension based on the fact that they didn't.
But didn't we already, did we deny it?
We haven't done anything with it at
We
this.
haven't done anything with it. Okay, I mean, I don't know how everyone else feels. I'm okay if we just add those conditions so that they really get done. Because she was saying probable and
maybe.
close to and maybe,
Right.
and that really
Yeah.
doesn't.
Well, we can say we want you to file for an amended order.
That would work, that's
We
what we
should.
do.
We should.
Yeah, every time something's changed like that,
Yeah,
you know, well, we go in and all the trees are cut down.
Yeah, yeah.
Or the building ends up being 2 foot bigger. Or the driveway changes.
It happens too often without any
Yeah.
penalty or repercussion or,
Basically, I think, well, what are they gonna do about it? We've already done it.
yeah.
But there are things we can
Reinhold
do. There are things we can do.
approach.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what they think. If we already did it, are they gonna make us tear it down? Which,
But we can ask for improvement on the site. You know, that's what I like to see to them. If we lost 36 square feet, for them to do an improvement somewhere for that 36 square feet. They can't, we're not going to say, take down the shed.
Yeah, I think when we're on the site, I'm waiting for the connector between the house and the garage at some point in
Right.
time.
The building inspector could
He should, yeah.
make them change it.
she said that he'd seen it.
He said, she said.
Yeah.
Does he have to sign
She
it?
danced around that pretty well.
She did dance.
Okay, so I will tell Shannon that we want to have an amended order.
You know, in the future, when we do larger projects, we have a contract that is multiple pages. We make the people, everyone that's involved, initial the bottom corner of every single page to prove that it should prove that they read every one. So then if there is an issue, you can say that you initialed this, you signed this, you are responsible to, and should be held to this. So, you know, something as simple as that could be a good insurance for us, just to make it more complete and a little less easy to wiggle out of.
I'm confused. What are you saying?
When we have a contract and it has multiple pages, when they sign it, you know, we just have them sign one page. We have them initial the bottom of every single page to show that they have read it and understood what they're signing, instead of just going right to the back, filling out the form and giving it to us. It's proof that they've read every single page thoroughly. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No.
I just closed on a house in Connecticut and it had a stack of papers like this thick. Every single one of them needed Mary's initials and mine.
Yeah.
So this is you're suggesting the original application, they should have somebody.
They should just initial, there should be a place where they initial on the bottom of each page. They just initial it, everyone that's involved. And it will eliminate a lot of the
He said, she said.
he said, she said, sneaking, wiggling, dancing around things later on.
We need that written somewhere on the front page.
Does that say contractor?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, I'm just saying with our larger jobs, everyone that's involved, whether it's the
Blank on the bottom.
the steel, everybody that's involved, initials to prove that they've read it and understood every single page.
Okay, so this is what we get
This is what we get from whom?
What is it?
from the applicant. This is the notice of intent. This is just one project.
So when,
So, I mean, there's the abutters report. You've got the first few pages that have all the nitty gritty in them, like what you're doing, what resource area is, what you're going to alter, what you're not going to alter, where the place is, the map, all that stuff.
Who wrote this?
DEP.
Okay.
This is the official DEP form. So there's like 13 pages or something of the form that everybody has to file when they file for a notice of intent. And then they add their own stuff. So they add a description of the project, what the existing conditions are. Sometimes they add photos of what the conditions are, where it is, the locus map, which is usually taken from the assessor's map, which tells you where the thing is. Sometimes you have the GIS map. And stormwater information, soil conditions. It's a lot of stuff, which I can tell you as a landowner, I would have no frickin' idea what this was all about. It should tell you something about the You know, if there's a vernal pool on the property or,
That ball can be dropped so many times between here and completion.
so,
How about we identify what pages need that signature or initials?
well, I think we need to identify where we think it's gonna go sideways.
What's gonna go sideways is after the work starts going.
Well, not even that. They could lay out the foundation in the wrong spot,
And
or the septic field.
let's
Or
not,
build a house where and then they don't have room for the septic field.
let's not forget the well driller.
Yeah,
Oh, that's something that I wanted to see in the, performance
I didn't
standards.
see it anywhere.
Was the well driller actually knows where the thing is gonna go, because they
Yeah, we
don't.
just saw that.
Except I lost my copy. What I did with it.
This might be it. Was it stapled?
Mine had,
That's quite a copier they got. Everything came out stapled.
yep, you can ask for it to staple. Pretty cool. But anyway, so, I'm not sure about the practical nature of that and whether it would be possible to do that. But certainly something to consider.
You know, there's also stuff, I mean, I don't know how much it applies to us, but like cleaning off the cement truck, up on my property, I had to dig up the concrete they washed down their thing with and, take it away. The slurry from the well drilling, I mean,
Yeah.
it all depends upon where those things happen, but
And the location of it,
that's what I mean.
within 200 feet, those things should all be addressed.
Right.
If you're out in the middle of who knows where,
Right, mountain, doesn't matter except to me.
Of course, the other thing is that if they come, if they come before us, I like the idea of of having the contractors sign the plans, but they don't always have the contractor hired when they're doing the permitting. So that makes it complicated. When do we?
Again, part of the sequence of work.
Yeah. But we've already issued we're just trying to figure out practically
We can issue.
how it works.
further-
We have to issue we're required to take action within 21 days.
We can issue the plan. We can issue it by looking at the plan.
Right.
And if the plan complies to what it is that we need it to comply to, fine, we'll sign off on it. The problem being is if they deviate from the plan, like the garage,
Right.
and then we have to send them a amended notice of intent. That's sort of the way it has to work.
So do we want to require them to give us a set of plans signed by the contractor before they begin work?
Without question.
It's an idea.
Can add that in.
Yeah.
That might be something to add to our performance standards.
Yeah.
I think that's doable. Because you can't necessarily have the contractor sign it when we issue, because they don't always know who the contractor is. Sometimes they say, oh, well, we're not going to start for a year, and they haven't hired the guy or anything else, or
sometimes they change
he's
too.
busy, or, they decide he's a jerk and they don't want him, and, whatever.
But if you do it before the work
But
starts,
if they do it before they commence work, if they are required to give us the signed plans,
yeah,
that could work,
Then we know if they make changes
right?
and how big of the change.
Then theoretically, they were supposed to have looked at the plans.
Right.
Well, it'd be nice to have something to refer to, like in that situation, for everything.
Any other business?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Seconded, all in favor?
Right?
I,
Okay,